Yeah, good evening. Welcome to the Talkin Kop. We're here for a full-time match reaction. Once again, I'm your host, Matt. I'm joined by Chris Breck. I'm joined by Ashley, and we are here to talk through what I can only describe as one of the most meaningless games that I can recall in recent Liverpool memory. Chris, it was what we would call in American sports garbage time, this game. It didn't really matter in the end with the result of the Barcelona-Atalanta game. The result had absolutely no impact on where we finished in the table. So just
No, it's the ultimate dead rubber, wasn't it? You don't want to lose. Obviously, ideally, you'd like to win, and we'll talk about the goals and all that. But ultimately, we got kids' minutes and squad players' minutes who needed it. Chiesa got his first 90, and we had 8 first-team players who didn't even touch the pitch, and they get a nice rest, which ultimately is all we really want. In an ideal world, we'd have finished undefeated, but it's not the end of the world because finishing first or second, it doesn't have a dramatic difference now. We've done all the hard work in the first 7 games. So, yeah, it was one of those games where I generally couldn't. I was trying to watch that and the women's game. So I was trying to watch 2 games at the same time, which is quite difficult. And the women's game to us was more entertaining because they scored 5. But look, overall, it was fine. There was a little bit of minor jeopardy with, Barcelona might finish top, but they couldn't beat Atalanta. And other than that, it was fine. So, and Ashley's worked out the whole draw of how we're all going to get to each round, and she's going to explain that in a minute. So we're all boxed.
Yeah, that was the best.
There's that bus, Ashley. Off you go. There's that bus for you.
Thank you so much, guys.
You're so welcome.
It was pretty tough to keep across all that was happening with 18 simultaneous games going on. There was a ton of goals, lots of movement in the table and whatnot. And then we get to the end, Ashley, and still nobody really seems to know how this whole process is supposed to work.
Well, in my opinion, it's being explained really poorly. I mean, like, our opponents are either Monaco, Brest, PSG, or Benfica. And outside of that, I'm not going to extrapolate until like Friday. Friday, we will know the whole entire thing. And, nobody needs to explain it to me like I'm 5, because at the moment, that's what it feels like. Every time I look at one of these graphics, I'm like, this still doesn't. I feel like graphically, I am a visual learner. So graphically, it's just not being explained very well to me. But I understand that those are our 4 potential candidates and that's all I really care about right now.
Yeah, it's we were trying to get our heads wrapped around it a little bit, and I think Chris found some graphics that really helped illustrate it better for us. But it's the draw that's coming on Friday will decide the sides of the bracket. So odd and even seeded teams are on different sides of the bracket. So we can't play Barcelona until the final, much in the same way that Arsenal, who finished 3rd, can't play Inter, who finished 4th, unless they met in a potential final. So I see, like, Paul Giovanni saying City versus Madrid or Bayern is huge.
They don't face each other.
They don't play each other. Bayern will, like, one of those teams will be on the opposite side of the draw from City. Like, City will draw one of Bayern or Real Madrid. Oh, that's what you're saying. Jesus. Yeah.
City will draw one of Atletico Madrid or Bayer Leverkusen, and Real Madrid, Bayern Munich will draw one of Atletico Madrid or Bayer Leverkusen.
No, see, you're missing around though there, Chris. This is where I went wrong as well too. First off, one of 11 or 12, Madrid or Bayern, will play one of Celtic or Man City in the knockout stages. So City will draw against one of either Bayern or Real Madrid, and then the other team will be on the opposite side of the draw from those 2 teams. Okay. And then in the next round, like, unbelievably convoluted, but it made for a somewhat enjoyable afternoon of sitting around and watching Champions League football.
Well, we'll do a reaction show probably on Friday and go, yeah, great. I'll lose track.
We can all just pretend like we understand on Friday, and it'll be great.
Yeah. I suppose on Friday, once we know the draw, then we know who's going to play. Because the only thing that was unclear to me is there's this whole seeding thing, which was because Liverpool finished top of the group, do they get whatever this draw video is? So say for example, it's Brest to get through, who are the lowest ranked of the 4 we can get. Does that mean we're automatically going to get Brest if they get through?
That was my thinking.
That's
about 2 hours ago.
I think in my head, that's probably the only benefit of finishing top is you're guaranteed a slightly, in theory, easier side. The main thing we've guaranteed is second legs at home.
I think that's the biggest.
Which is a big thing for us.
Yeah.
Someone's put leave it to Ashley Brackley. Ashley knows. Me and Ashley have both gone, we're not sure.
Yeah, no, we're just gonna wait till Friday, and on Friday we will all be experts because it'll be all laid out for us. So.
Yes, in theory, I'm sure UEFA will come up with some way to convolute things and make it.
It'll take 3 hours to show us as well. It'll be like a 3-hour show just to draw like a few balls. That'll be it.
I mean, I'm just glad that we don't have like Madrid and Bayern and PSG and Celtic kind of all in our group, because it was looking kind of dicey there for a second. So I think, it seems like the odds are kind of more in our favor now. So I'm not too worried about it. No one wants to play us.
No, we've got a 75% chance of playing a French team. That's about the only thing I do know.
Lovely.
So not much traveling, which is always good.
And I mean, I think Monaco would call themselves Monegasque and not French, probably. But
they play in the French league. The class is French.
That's just wow. As Swansea fans loved hearing that coming from you.
I think I've never said a Swansea fan. Swansea are French, so it's okay.
I mean, Ashley, as much as this is all kind of confusing, it was slightly confusing about an hour before kickoff when the lineups dropped. And I don't think I've ever seen Robertson and Tsimikas in the starting 11. And I don't even know if they've ever been on the pitch simultaneously for us. That was a fun bit of tinkering from everybody going, how are we lining up?
Yeah, it's one of those lineups that's probably going to be like a quiz question one day that like nobody's going to be able to answer, because I mean, I certainly didn't see Robertson lining up as a center back. There's so many things that like are not on my bingo card for 2025, and they're already being checked off, and it's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of a hodgepodge of players put together, and I think they kind of performed in a similarly kind of hodgepodge-esque fashion, and that's me being nice.
Yeah, I mean, the big name that's in there, Chris, obviously from one of the two fullbacks with both of our left fulls starting this game. One of them is obviously going to play the weekend at Bournemouth. And then Cody Gakpo, who one of you guys was saying before the show said he had the opportunity to stay home from this game, but put his hand up and was like, nope, I want to go and play. Those were kind of the best 11, the starting players that played for us. And other than that, it was a fully rotated squad. And over the course of the game, Chris, really looked like it.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought Liverpool played quite well actually up and probably for the first 35-40 minutes. You were sort of going, for such a changed side, they actually did really well. I was impressed. I thought Jane Dan's, bless him, literally had fed on scraps. He just fed on scraps. But battled away, won free kicks, took some absolute lumps. I was made up Chiesa got a full 90. So we've seen him do a full 90, and he had an impact for most of the 90 as well. It wasn't like he was just getting minutes as like, he had an impact in the game, which is really good. I thought for his debut as well, I thought for his Champions League day, I thought McConnell had a decent game for his debut. It's not, away in Europe against the favourites for the Dutch league is, quite tough for a debut for a youngster. And I thought he equipped himself pretty well. Defensively, we're a bit of a, let's be honest, a bit of a shambles, but it
was a bit of a hope and a prayer kind of slap.
No,
together.
But I mean, you're playing both left backs, your backup right back, and the fourth choice centre half, and your backup keeper. So it was never going to be fluid, was it? Let's be fair.
Yeah, definitely some learning curve there. I don't know how much more of Andy Robertson at center half I want to see. I'd rather see Joe Gomez playing in the 6 again, personally, over that. But
again, what can you do? That's what I mean. If Gomez had come back to training a week earlier, then you probably wouldn't have seen 2 left backs playing. Yeah. Just a bit of a needs must tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. I mean, if only there was some sort of market in which one could dip their toes to add an extra player, but that's neither.
Making signings is overrated.
Yes, exactly. I mean, let's just go through the goals then, Ashley. It's a penalty for our first goal, and it was Federico Chiesa who I gave him a few pelters after the Southampton League Cup game because I felt that he looked like he hated his life at that moment out there in the freezing cold of Southampton. But his last couple of appearances, he's looked a lot better, a lot bright, lively. People pointing out that he got the full 90 today, which is great because he looked like he was going to be another Naby Keita type. Oh, that turned on. That was odd. But he wins the penalty for us. Joey Veerman takes him down, and Gakpo gets probably the best thing that he could have hoped to have gotten out of this game, which was a chance to score one more time at the PSV Arena.
Yeah. I mean, like, credit where credit is due. Chiesa kind of put himself on the line there. I think it was, I don't know how you pronounce it, Vermeer in the box. I don't think that he saw him over his shoulder, and it was a poor first touch. And yeah, I mean, like I said, Chiesa was good to go after that ball, and I like Gakpo on penalties. Like, he looked really confident. It was right in the corner, nothing fancy, and didn't celebrate at his club. I appreciate that. I, as much as I do like, I like when some players celebrate against their clubs, but I don't know. I feel like he did it with dignity today, so I'm good with that. And that's Gakpo's 15th of the season. Quietly, he's becoming one of our most reliable goal scorers. That's his 3rd in 7 Champions League matches. So again, just quietly becoming very reliable for our team. And like, I don't know. He's kind of like the Cody Gakpo that everyone saw in the Dutch team. And I feel like there were so many times when I was watching commentators of the Dutch team being like, oh, well, this is the true Cody Gakpo. We don't really see him at Liverpool. I feel like we're finally seeing him at Liverpool.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if it was you, Ashley, that shared it, or Chris, could have been you, that currently he's on the same sort of goal scoring rate that we were getting out of Sadio Mane. And I think that's the absolute best we could have ever hoped to get out of Cody Gakpo, was to be, comparing him equally with Sadio Mane at his peak output levels. Like, it's a good pen for him. He doesn't stutter. He just goes up. He blams it into the corner of the net. Does the respectful thing, which I thought we had put into Football Room 101, but it might not have gotten a sound effect, actually. So not celebrating against his old team, that's all well and good. And then we promptly just give a goal back to them. It was variations on a theme tonight of our center halves just not dealing with what should be pretty standard stuff. And Bakayoko puts it into the net. He's a tidy player.
Yeah, it was rubbish defending. It was just like watching kids football. Robertson and Kwanzaa both just diving in. I can see Robertson trying to block the shot. I don't know why Kwanzaa's jumping in behind him. And a very good finish, but Gakpo should stop the cross or do more, put more pressure to stop the cross. And yeah, the 2 centre-backs just make a bit of a meal of it. But look, credit to the player, good bit of skill, really good finish. I'm probably more annoyed with the second goal. I think the second goal is probably the poorest of the 3. And I just think a bit rank back defending. But listen, it's an away game. And the positive was we reacted well and got ourselves 2-1 up. And then the last 5 minutes of that half was interesting.
Yeah. I don't know how there were so many extra added minutes.
Yeah, I don't know, but you shouldn't be conceding. They should have seen it out. They should have really seen it out to 2-2, and then seen what happened. But ultimately, I can't overanalyze or get too heads up over a game that largely doesn't really affect our season.
Just at all, pure garbage time. I mean, the thing about the added minutes just kind of goes along with, like, the referee for me today. He was consistent in his kind of head-scratching decisions, but the thing about it that I didn't like was that there'd be a clear foul in the midfield, and it seemed like he wouldn't give it until the player that was fouled, like, called for it. Like, it was like cricket rules. Like, you actually had to say that's
appeal.
Out. Yeah, you
appeal for it.
You have to appeal. Like, the ref cannot give it if you don't cry for it. And it was just a bit annoying because you just see just run-of-the-mill standard tackles in the middle of the field that are an obvious foul. And he'd be like, is he not blowing this? And then a player would throw it. And, oh, yeah, no, I'll blow it there. Ashley, the man who would feel slightly aggrieved in the build-up to Cody Gakpo's penalty, Harvey Elliott, the ball falls to him and he slots it in after everybody stops running because the whistle had blown. He gets his redemption. He's on the end of a spilled save from Federico Chiesa shot that comes from really good work from Cody Gakpo. He had a really, really good spell there in the first half where he just absolutely dominates his defender. I think it might have been the Obispo number 4. I think that's who it was that he was up against there. But he lays the ball off to Dans, who instead just lets Chiesa to run onto it, blam a shot in. And Harvey Elliott doing the most un-Darwin Núñez-like thing in the entire world, making sure he's onside.
Yeah, and just rolling it calmly into the net as well, which is also the non-Darwin Núñez way to do it. Yeah, there was a really long
He just does last-minute winners. He just concentrates on last minute winners. That's all he wants to do.
You know what? It's great. I'm glad he was involved. He was one of those players that we singled out in kind of like the pre-match, about who could step up. I think, Chiesa was another one that really stepped up. I'm really kind of bummed that Nunes did not get the chance. I know he was ill, so obviously, we can't fault him for that. But I am kind of bummed for him that he didn't get the chance to step up. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy for Elliott. I have no idea why there was that long of an offside check because he was clearly onside.
I thought it was the initial Gakpo one they were looking at, but they weren't.
I don't know, but don't they have the automated offsides thing? I don't know.
It didn't feel like it tonight.
It did not feel like it today. It felt like maybe PSV had, like Emmett's Wi-Fi signal from yesterday. I'm not quite sure.
I'm not sure what kind of microphone he was using on the 30 there. I mean, that's very, very good timing in terms of mentioning that because Richard Howell has just gifted 5 Talkin Kop monthly memberships.
Oh, nice.
PW, Steve Lines, Stephen L., which feels like it might also be Steve Lines. Bill Brush and Brad LFC 965 have a month-long membership. So if you guys are interested in getting involved in the Telegram chat, get the app downloaded, get signed up for it. Get a hold of Gav, talkinkop1, the number 1, @gmail.com. He'll send you the code to get added into our members Telegram group, which is just absolutely so much fun. A couple of good additions to the group today, one including our own Professor Madge Apple, who came up with being the language brilliant person that she is. Upgrade Chiesa to Basilica, which is lovely, lovely wordplay there. But yes, if you're interested in becoming a member, $3.99 a month. You get access to all the shows, all the chats, and then get into our members Telegram group. And we're getting close to 70 people in there. It's always fun.
Right.
PW returning the love, gifting a membership that Anthony Boylan goes ahead and picks up there. Well, Chris, you wanted to talk about the second goal, so let's talk about their second goal. Endo loses the ball. Is he fouled?
No.
Did the ref get in the way?
I think the ref gets in the way, which is a bit annoying, but it happens. I don't think Endo's fouled. I just think he's out-muscled. I kind of feel... It sounds harsh on the keeper. I kind of feel between the keeper and centre-backs, from that angle, he shouldn't really be scoring. He hits it well, but I kind of feel like either the keeper needs to come out a bit quicker just to close down the angle even more, or one defence just needs to get something on it. So that was slightly frustrating, but again, how often will that back four play again? I doubt we'll see that back four again this season. Unless if we see that back four again this season, one or two things
something has gone wrong.
Either something's gone wrong, or something's gone really right, and we're just resting players for a different reason. Hopefully,
I like that.
We're in a Champions League final. We've got Champions League final to prepare for, so we're going to play that side in the Premier League because we don't care.
Hold the Tottenham in game week 35 or whatever.
Yeah.
Won it all.
And still go 3-0 up because that's what Tottenham do. That'd be the ideal, wouldn't it? If we see that lineup again, it's for good reasons. But I don't think we'll see that lineup again.
No, probably not.
Well, and all for the better because, like we've said.
I have a question for Ashley, actually. Which is the worst defensive line? That pack four tonight, or the three at the back we did at home to Forest?
The Forest one will be stuck in my memory bank forever.
Because I know that triggers you every time we talk about that Forest back three.
That Forest one, I don't know. That's just going to be like the one that comes back and haunts my nightmares. So, yeah, probably that one. Even though, I don't know, we definitely conceded more goals with this back four, but for some reason it's the Forest one that sticks in my brain.
It was just such an odd
back three. Just awful.
Even Matt was annoyed. Even Matt was only he goes, this ruins my back three argument completely.
What was it? It was Bradley, Virgil, and Tsimikas?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such an odd back three.
I mean, it's I would take that over what we had today just simply because that one has Virgil van Dijk in it. I mean, it's
still
valid, but at least I don't know. That one just.
We still lost with both.
I think it's because Slot has just kind of reinforced the Forest narrative in my brain. So there's so many times he's mentioned it, and so now I'm just like, okay, Forest equals bad, and therefore that lineup equals bad. So I don't know.
Yes,
I'll let the youngsters slide today.
Pavlov's YouTuber sort of thing. He's just anytime Notts Forest gets mentioned, just send your blood all a boiling.
Mm-hmm.
The third goal though, Ashley, is poor Jarell Kwanzaa. I know there's going to be a segment of Liverpool fans that'll go over the top and start making pronouncements like he'll never be good enough to play for us.
Oh, that's already started. I've already seen that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's inevitable that it's going to happen. Like, people rush to have the first dumb take on something just so that they can claim they were first if they're proven right in the fullness of time. But he's not having a great season, and in the third goal, he's just clumsy and slow. Not good.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the problem with Kwanzaa is that he's not getting any game time. He feels a bit like Gomez, where like once he gets a few games like back to back, he gets a rhythm and he's okay. The problem is he's not getting back to back games. He's not gaining any rhythm. And we are in a situation that, like, I wouldn't trade for the world, but we are in a situation where every game kind of matters. And even in a game that doesn't matter, like today, he's now under a microscope because he hasn't been playing. And like, he needs to be in a place where he can make mistakes without having the world crumble around him. Mm. And although there are logical fans of Liverpool that will, say, oh, like today was a nothing game, no big deal. You also get the hordes of fans online that are like, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And I don't necessarily think that he's a fantastic young player. Like, he is not a finished article. And neither was Virgil van Dijk at his age. And I think we have to continue to remind ourselves how young he is, specifically for a center back position. And so, like, there is so much more to come for him. And you do not throw like Kwanzaa out completely at this point in time based on this little blip in time.
Yeah, that's the reasonable way of taking it. I mean, Sam Tandy points out here, Chris, I actually thought Kwanzaa played well in general, to be honest. Intercepted a lot of crosses, not easy when he's not playing with the settled defense. He's been thrown in a lot this season, playing with Endo, Gomez, etc. Because that's valid, but
yeah, he was good against
the scene of the crime for Jarell Kwanzaa.
Yeah, similar complaints been made about Andy
Robertson. Bravo's been at the scene of the crime too.
Yeah, but if you think about it, before today, his two previous games, which were West Ham away, which is not the easiest place to go to, and Lille at home, he was absolutely fine. But he had Virgil van Dijk next to him, and he had Trent the other side of him. Guess what? It looks a lot more solid. He's also just this is kind of what youngsters are like. They have peaks and troughs, and you kind of have to ride them through it. Look, there's an argument to say maybe in the summer, if Liverpool do buy a centre-back, which hopefully they do, maybe he's the one that goes and gets a Premier League loan and gets regular game time, which might do him some good. It's happened to other players. You've seen Elliott be up and down the previous seasons. I mean, Matt, when you first started doing post-match reaction with us, Elliott used to get horrific pelters because he wasn't good enough. He was never going to be good enough. Now people are moaning more like, well, why isn't he getting enough game time? It just takes time. You could easily see next season, Kwanzaa kicks on and everyone goes, oh, he was brilliant this season. I was back like we was 2 years ago. That's kind of what happened to youngsters.
I wish we didn't pile on to them like this. I mean, they are young. Like,
I think the pressure's on because of where we are in the league. If we were like 4th, 5th in around it, there'd probably be less pressure. You'd probably get a bit more game time. You'd take a few more risks.
He also set his own bar very high. Like,
he did.
He kind of outdid all of our expectations last year. We forget, like,
he was keeping Canales.
He literally thought he was going on loan when he came back last season. And he did not think he was going to be playing for Liverpool last year. Like, he didn't. He thought he was going to go out on loan, and he got thrust in because of circumstance. And he achieved everything that he achieved and more, but that was not expected. That wasn't like, he wasn't on schedule. He was ahead of schedule. So we have to kind of rein back our expectations.
I mean, Klopp was picking him ahead of Canate when Canate was fit. Mm-hmm. And most people don't care about international football, but he was on standby to go to an international tournament with England. That's how well he was playing. He pushed himself into that sort of conversation. Would it have been good for him? Probably not. I think that might have been a little bit too much too soon. But that was the consistency he was getting himself to. But at the moment, he's got to try and break up one of our best centre half partners we've had probably for the last couple of seasons, which is Canate and Van Dijk. And look, it took Canate time to get into that side because he had to get past Joel Matip. So. Also, he's going to he will learn, he'll improve, but also this is also unfortunately the joys of playing at the likes of Liverpool's, Arsenal's, Man City's, under the microscope, and every mistake is amplified. Because the margins are so slim, you can't get away with dropping many points or making many mistakes. That's just the world you're in.
Yeah, it's the age room that's the biggest thing. Like PW saying, great comment. I'm not worried about him. I have genes older than him. I still think there's a good player in there. And a lot of people pointing out that he's got the raw attributes that you want. He's got enough pace. He's got enough height. Just needs to fill out a little bit. And if we're just calm and don't go too overboard with it, because it's something that I've said before, and I think I'm now being proven correct in the fullness of time.
I can't believe that.
That Alejandro Garnacho is just the next Makeda, is the next Januzaj off the ranks for Manchester United. And now it looks, it's seeming like he might be a little bit surplus, that they might be willing to let him go out on loan. That you can't get too hyped up over a kid. Kobe Mainoo last year, the second coming of England's, midfield sort of thing. Just calm the fuck down. Let an 18-year-old turn 22 and see where you get on from there. So he's got all the time in the entire world.
Interesting quote from Slot, which James Pierce has tweeted.
You don't do quotes around here. That's actually
Ashley hasn't put this one up.
Go ahead.
Ashley hasn't put this one up. That's why I can say it.
I'm busy putting Robertson's quotes up at the moment. Okay, give me a second.
No, only to talk about youngsters. Slot has highlighted James McConnell as somebody he was impressed with, and has apparently said he's now unlikely to go out on loan.
Whoa!
I wonder if that means Morton might be leaving.
Yeah, I wonder if that means well. That's some impression to make. That if they were thinking alone, he's gone. Oh no, I'm going to keep him around. So maybe, and also he was picked ahead of Morton, which did surprise us because we all kind of thought Morton would start. Actually, Morton did fine when he came on, to be fair, but maybe they've decided McConnell's got the higher ceiling. I mean, he was good when he came in the League Cup final as well.
Yeah.
I love the thought of winning because it annoys Chelsea fans.
Yeah. It's Red Steve's trying to get you to do the accent. Brian O'Sullivan is pleading with Ashley to just look.
I'm getting pelters left and right.
You can't win.
I'm trying to put Robertson's quotes on, but I can't put Slot's quotes on fast enough. I'm looking away from the screen.
Yeah, don't look away from the screen. You got to do it while not looking away from the screen. Come on.
I feel like I'm back in elementary school where they cover your hands when you're typing and you're not allowed to look at the letters. Like that's what it feels like. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm familiar with the concept. It never happened.
Typing class, never.
No,
that's a me thing.
That's a Boston thing, definitely.
No. I'm familiar with that. It's a typing test. You don't look at your fingers.
No, we don't. I don't. I'm very old though, so it could be that.
Yes. Well, as Bob Paddock is pointing out, McConnell is younger, both than you and Tyler Martin as well too. So yeah, he's got 2 years on McConnell. But Sam Tandy here is saying McConnell's always impressed me. Very underrated technically, in my opinion. Reads the game very well. Actually, it was the one thing I took from watching James McConnell today was that he looked very much like the type of midfielder that the AXA has been designed to produce for Liverpool. Like, he's got a lot of the same qualities about him that you see with the Curtis Jones, with Tyler Morton, with players like that. These guys that we see come into the team, maybe in brief glimpses, but they're confident on the ball. They're happy to, make passes with their back to play, a player at their back and things like that. And today he did himself, and I mean, if what Chris said wasn't just a total lie, he did himself absolutely no harm today with the performance.
As if I would lie on the internet. As if I would.
He didn't look like a child out there. Like, he looked like he could have been a fringe member of the team, not somebody that's, an academy player that gets brought up into the team. But let's just do the second half. I have literally 3 points for the second half. Tyler Morton makes an incredible block after Kwanzaa has another bit of a rip. Kelleher makes an incredible save in the 93rd minute.
Oh, like the little bat away.
Dance gets assaulted. And in front of the
linesman just kind of watches like an accomplice.
The linesman went, throw in. I was like, went through his ankle, not going to give anything.
Not only was he injured, but also the PSV player was injured. But fine, just keep playing. No big deal.
Kie's had a shout for he shouts for a penalty. I don't think
it was a little bit theatrical.
I forgot about this. Elliott gets a yellow card for diving. That's not a dive. It's not a penalty.
That was like, there was enough contact where like, it was not fabricated, but it wasn't a penalty at the same time.
Yeah. And then poor Nallo.
Well, that's the one. I mean, come on.
I felt sorry for the lad. He literally came on, and to be honest, I think he only came on because Dan was injured. I think that's the only reason.
Well, because he got assaulted, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, because Dan was struggling with his ankle. So he came on the 83rd minute, and then on the 87th minute, he's sent off because he denied his goal scoring opportunity. I think they were trying to see, did he get the ball first? He did get a ball, not the football, but he definitely got a ball looking at one of the pictures.
Yeah. There's a picture, and he got, it was full contact of some type of ball, but it was not
Don't be vulgar now, Ashley. Don't be vulgar.
No,
so,
it was not
or be really vulgar, Ashley. Make people happy.
Yeah.
No, we're saving that. We're saving that for Arteta at the very end of the season. I have a plan. But yeah, no, it is a shame. He, an unfortunate side fact, because I do love fun facts, and this is a sad fact, but he becomes Liverpool's youngest red card ever. Yeah. So not great, but
you know
what?
It was company.
Michael Owen,
was in esteemed company, and you know what?
That was a bad. Let's be fair, that was a bad tackle by Michael Owen as well. It wasn't a nice tackle.
But you know what? At least it was a tackle in a game that didn't mean anything, and he can just. I'm sure everyone will surround him, and it'll be fine. Like, it is not the way you want to make your debut, though. So I do feel.
No, I did feel sorry for him. I was made up he got his debut because he's in the 23s. I thought, this would be good to see.
I feel like that happens a lot, though. Like, I feel like, there's so much emotion and there's so much excitement that, sometimes weird things happen.
It's still not as bad as Jonathan Woodgate's debut for Real Madrid. That probably still is the worst debut I think I've ever seen. Signed for a big fee. 2 minutes into the game, he scores an own goal. Then he gets sent off. That was so it wasn't quite Jonathan Woodgate.
Something to aspire to.
Something to aspire to, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, too late.
But again,
you only get to make one first impression.
Yeah, that'll be it now. He'll be written off as well, probably.
Well, as somebody in the Telegram said, like, he's going to be suspended for his next Champions League appearance in 3 years. Unfortunately, that's not how it works for the joy of comedy. He doesn't make it at Liverpool. He signs for some low-level team and then gets a move to a new Champions League qualifying team, and they're like, oh shit, he's still suspended from 2025, and it's 2030.
So when we play Benfica or Brest, unfortunately he will be suspended.
Yes, but again, as Sam Tandy points out, cannot wait for Nalo to collect his Champions League final winners medal in Munich for Liverpool. That would be
dressed as a red card.
Just wearing a ref's jersey instead of a Liverpool.
Yeah.
Just full Frank.
Walks around the red card to everyone.
It's all well and good. All right, let's see here. We got some comments. I know we got some comments here from Andy
quite
Roberts.
A few. I typed Robbo and it auto-corrected to Robbie. So just if you look at the ones that say Robbie.
I'm like Ron Burgundy. I will just read what's on the teleprompter. So don't give me any spelling mistakes. Before that, PW says, just spent 20 minutes rewatching Nalo's red card, and it gets funnier every time. Poor guy. But if ever there was a time where you'll look back on it and laugh applies, it's here. He put that dude's balls into orbit. Yeah.
His Bakayoko's face is hilarious in the still shot, by the way. Like, it's exactly what you'd imagine. It's going to be a meme somewhere.
It's just a pity we can't cry conspiracy against it. It would be so much easier.
Bakayoko was good tonight.
He was.
He was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised he's still there at PSV. I thought
he would be a great understudy for Mo to kind of like learn the ropes. I had him in our, I forget what
transfer
it was
game.
called. Yeah,
the transfer game. Yeah,
that I pulled in.
But even at Arsenal, I could see him working as a wide player for Arsenal. So I thought someone like at Arsenal or City might have took a punt and gone. Him as a wide option would be quite handy.
Yeah. Well, City decided that Doku was a better Belgian winger option than Bakayoko. So
who just thunk it, eh?
Yeah, Sam Tandy on fire here saying Bakayoko to Brentford when Mbumo leaves, which is entirely possible. So yes, here we have the Ando Robertson quotes. Holy crap, there is a lot of them.
The Robbie quotes, yeah.
Yes, Robbie quotes. Says we can take a lot of positives from tonight, and it was a chance to give the young lads a chance. We got our noses in front at 2-1, and then we're a bit naive, which usually doesn't happen. We tried to push when we fell behind, but it just didn't happen. Results went our way elsewhere. Oh, no, I'm going backwards. Robbie continues. So we finished top, and that's what we wanted at the start of the season. Robbo now says, I'm just glad we don't have a playoff and we're in the automatic 8. Ooh, that's a good name for it, the automatic 8. There will always be tough games, so let's see who we face once they fight it out in the playoffs. All the games on one night created excitement. We know whatever format it was, our aim is always to get the last 16 and see if we can get further. On the youngsters, Robbo says they were really good. McConnell was great in midfield and driving forward. Big Dan's was great up top and held the ball up really well. We had experienced players getting a chance. Federico was really good and got the 90 minutes he needed. Now, Arne talking about James McConnell. You wondered how he would react on the stage at this level, but James just plays. It is not a surprise. He deserves credit. And then Arne Slot says he will talk to Richard Hughes tomorrow about which young players can go out on loan in the last few days of the January window, but wants James McConnell to stick around. So, yeah, I mean, that's really high praise for him. Chris,
he's going to fall off his chair. What do you mean I'm going to do work? Oh, fucking hell.
He just says unknown number and he answers the phone. He's like, oh, Arne. Oh, it doesn't even have him saved in his phone or anything like
that. He says, I was just booking me next break to Italy for a holiday.
It's always on.
Sorry, I'm in a scouting trip. Sorry.
Yeah. Arne Slot on the red card saying, I don't think there's a lot to complain about. What is more frustrating about the referee was the second goal. He was hindering Wata. And on McConnell, he says, if I had been surprised, that would mean he had not been at this level in training, but he has been competitive. And then on Amaru Nalo getting sent off, it is cruel, but he has never played first-team football before, and to make your debut in a Champions League is probably the hardest. He misinterpreted the situation, and it's a big moment to learn from. It is cruel when you think I'm making my Champions League debut, but you go off a few minutes later. A career isn't always positive. It also has negatives, and he has to make sure he plays in this competition again. So just the old regular arm around the shoulder thing there. But Chris, I'll come to you for our nominees, but I'm going to go first because I'm the host. So I'm going to give my man of the match to James McConnell. I think out of all the players on the pitch, I think he stood out the absolute most. I'm going to give my honorable mention to Endo. Just perfect Endo performance. Just he does everything you need him to do.
He did get kicked in the head today, which was good.
Yeah. He wasn't assaulted or anything.
Wasn't
like
assaulted.
Mild improvement from last game.
Yeah, that was Dan's turn this time.
Yes, yep. Onwards and upwards. And my could do better. I mean, Andy Robertson is probably an easy choice, but hopefully we never see him playing the left center half position ever again. Other than that, I think everybody kind of acquitted themselves all right. So maybe, could do better. Probably Kwanzaa for me. How about you, Chris?
I'll give it to Chiesa. I just thought he was involved. I mean, he was heavily involved in both goals, like Gakpo. He certainly knows how to work a keeper. I feel like it feels like every shot he has is on target. So it was good to see him get a 90. The pace. He was playing both wings. I thought he did well. Honorable mention of mine would have been McConnell. I just thought he slotted in perfectly in that deeper role. Could do better. Yeah, Kwanzaa's a good shout. I feel like Kelleher could have done better with the second goal. But, I mean, he does make a fabulous save at 3-2. It's ridiculously good, which is what he does. But that's probably nitpicking. But, yeah, that's about it, really.
Ashley, who would you like?
Let's go someone different. I will give man of the match to Gakpo. I think he was really, really involved. Like the minute he went off, our goal threat kind of disintegrated. I agree with you guys. I think McConnell and Chiesa are probably the standouts. I think Elliott did good. Did well. We have Madge in the chat, so I want to make sure I got my grammar correct. I think Elliott did well. He stepped up. He grabbed his chance. That was something that we were looking for. Could do better. I think Bradley had a bit of an off day. I don't really think that he had much of an impact. And I thought that it's weird to say, but, because he is sort of one of our senior youth players, I thought he would be a little bit more impactful. I just thought that the back line was just all over the place. And I think we've talked about Kwanzaa. We've talked about Kwanzaa. We've talked about Robertson already. I don't know. I don't think any of them covered themselves in glory. I don't think Simicast covered himself in glory either. So just sort of the whole defensive line could do better.
Yeah. And again, we'll almost certainly never see them all play together ever.
Hopefully
again.
not.
At least as a back four. I mean, do we want to let's take a little look around the other results that happened. I guess there is 17 other games there. Chris, the big one, just for hilarity's sake, was whether or not Simon Mignolet could keep a clean sheet and have Man City tumble out. That didn't happen, even though they went 1-0 up. It was always obvious that City were going to get the result they needed to get through.
Yeah, I mean, probably from Liverpool's perspective, it's probably a good thing because it means they've got a second leg to play about 4 days before they play us, whereas we have a week off. So you hope they get Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, so then it's at least, it's not going to be a game that's going to be dead and done after the first leg. So, yeah, that was quite good. The Barcelona game looked lively from, I think it was 2-2. I think Atalanta had a goal disallowed. So, yeah, it was quite exciting, wasn't it?
Yeah, just kind of goals flying around everywhere. Ashley, any big results jump out to you? Because one for me is, Lille absolutely put the boots to Feyenoord, beat them 6-1, but Lille finished in 7th place.
Yeah, that's surprising. I don't know. I don't think there was any huge upset. I was hoping for an upset. And I said this the other day where it felt like, they were making it out to be like there were going to be all of these huge kind of big teams that were going out. I think City were always going to claw that back. I don't think anyone that dropped out is someone that I'm like, oh my God, how could they possibly not be in it? I don't know about you guys. Like I
was surprised Bologna finished as low as they did. I thought they might have done a little bit better.
I mean, they finished on 6 points. So, that's 2 wins out of everything. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not saying surprised, but I thought Bologna and I thought RB Leipzig would have done better in the competition than they have done. They've probably
I'd say you could put Girona into that bracket. Those would be the 3 teams that get knocked out automatically. Because if you look at the other ones, you look at Dinamo Zagreb, Stuttgart, Shakhtar, Red Star, Sturm Graz, Sparta Prague, Salzburg, Bratislava, and Young Boys. Nobody ever expected them to get through.
Yeah.
No, they're probably the 3 you thought if they did miss out, they'd only just miss out. Do you know what I mean? But they've comfortably missed out.
Well, Salzburg's missed out.
Our Pep did not do very well with that competition at all.
Thank God he wasn't kept on as our manager.
This is true. I can't believe that was actually a thought that I entertained for a little while because I did.
I wouldn't have admitted that on the internet.
I'm sorry, but you know what?
That thought never entered my head.
Fine. I don't know.
It certainly
I'm not the only one that entertained it.
Yeah. Other than that, it was just such a relaxing day for a day of footy that had so much jeopardy on it. Like, it wasn't like there was a ton of teams that could potentially have been knocked out that weren't. The top 19 teams were kind of known. There wasn't a ton of movement from the top 8 out of the top 8 because some of the draws were, pretty favorable. Inter Milan had a pretty straightforward game. Like Leverkusen, pretty straightforward game.
Atalanta and Villa kept swapping places, didn't they? I think they were probably the Villa be made up because they don't have to play again now till March, and Atalanta were, nearly automatic qualifiers. So that was probably the only one that was really up and down. But it's probably good. It's been really good for clubs like Celtic, who I can't actually remember last time Celtic got past the group stage. So for them, the playoff round, the money from the playoff round is huge for them.
And it's doubly good because where did it go? Madge's comment from earlier. Rogers got Rogered tonight, which is I think that's a triple pun. It's just incredible, incredible work. Brendan Rodgers doing Brendan Rodgers thing. But yeah, that's huge for Celtic to get out of there. And then now it's just all a matter of sitting around and waiting for one of potentially 50 draws to be made because Hotline here said earlier.
They do love a draw.
The UEFA website says there's a draw for the round of 16 quarterfinal and the semifinal on the 21st. That will determine. So there's lots more moving parts to deal with before we can get around to understanding this. Let's see. Ashley thrown in a couple more here. Oh, just one on Chiesa from Arne Slot. It has been 7, 8, 9 months ago, maybe longer, and it was important that he got a chance to play 90 minutes. It was important also that he could compete for 90 minutes, which is one of the big takeaways to get from today. Oh, Santandy is so mean today. It says, imagine if Brendan knocks out Real Madrid in the playoffs if they play them. Will he play a full-strength side?
Well, it depends. He might have a big game at the weekend, so you've got to sort of reprioritize.
a way to part a thistle or something like that.
And if he does what he did for Liverpool, which is great, he played the reserves, got beat 1-0, and then got battered by Chelsea. It worked really well.
Good man, the Braj. Yes. Unless we've got anything else to do, Ashley, anything else you'd like to discuss?
I mean, I'm just glad that, like, even though we played the kids, we didn't get embarrassed. Like, I understand it would have been nice to have won today, but like, it was fine. That was like PSV needed to win today. Like, they needed to win to progress in the competition, and they put out their strongest side. We I don't know. I'm just kind of impressed that we were able to do that. I'm used to seeing that happen in, the FA Cup or in the, in all of the other cups, but to do that into the Champions League, I think, I'm just impressed. I'm happy with the result, even though people on Twitter are going to be going nuts about it. Like, it was a nothing game. It was a nothing game. So just move on. Like,
yes, exactly. And just before I come to you, Chris, Ashley, Richard Howell would like to know thoughts on John Duran going to Al Nassr. The number was 77 million?
I just think it's a waste. Like, I feel like, I don't know. Obviously not for Villa. Like, their checkbook is not thinking that that's a waste. But he's 21 years old. Like, he's going to move there and we're never going to hear from him again. And he had, go ahead.
Would it be funny if Villa go and sign Sesko, who Arsenal wanted now without all that money?
I mean, that would be funny. Like, maybe that's...
Because Klopp will let them buy Sesko, whereas he would...
Klopp will go, Villa, that is okay. Arsenal, absolutely not.
Cut rate price.
I don't know. I think
million.
The Watkins, late attempt from Arsenal was a little bit weird. Like, I don't know. We were talking about this in the Telegram chat. I think it was mostly Dylan that was talking about it. But he was saying that Villa would be silly not to accept 60 million for Watkins. And I disagreed. And I don't know how you guys feel about this. But I'm like, he's English. He's 29. He's a guaranteed striker. And it's the end of the window. Like, what is Villa going to do? I just thought that was a weird... I don't know.
I can see him selling one. Well, it looks like the Arsenal one. Duran. I could never see him selling both this late in the window. It would be... You're just kissing your season goodbye, though. It would be a very odd thing to do.
I just thought it was...
Also,
for
if you're
me,
Arsenal,
Watkins is easily an 80 million pound player, even at 29.
Why have they left it so late to bid for him? They've had all of January to go for him. So why don't you get him in early when it would have made more of an impact?
I mean, they're all talking about João
Felix. Sell Duran.
This weird thing. I like I said the other night, I do not understand João Felix and the way that he's moving through the market right now. It doesn't feel normal to me.
Feels like money laundering.
That's what I said.
Yeah, you're spot on with.
Like that reminds me of Morata.
I convinced Beppe some sort of tax write-off when United have signed him. The worst football I've ever seen in my life.
It's just he's one of those players. I'm like, I just don't understand it. Like, it's not that he's a bad player. I just don't understand the way it's moving.
Yeah. It's Hotline's pointing out he'd take Duran at Liverpool. I was never a huge fan of him. There was just something about him that I just decided early on that I don't quite like this guy.
I got the impression from Emery he's high maintenance.
Yeah, well, I mean, and this kind of, to me, Chris, is like the validation of that opinion that I had of him, because Jonathan's pointing out 3 years in Saudi tax-free, then back to Europe when he's 24, 25, not the worst idea. But at the same time, you're going off
challenging yourself.
To me, Chris, that's a player that doesn't back himself. And I don't know, maybe it's laudable that maybe John Duran is am I going to be one of the best strikers in the world? No. Am I going to be one of the top 10 best strikers in the world? Probably not. Can I get paid like one of the 10 best strikers in the world? Yes. Well, fuck that. I'm going to take the money. I don't dislike that idea, but it gives me validation that I was never one of the people that was like, oh, Liverpool should be in for John Duran, because there was just something about it. He looked like he was fighting for a place at Villa, and he was helped when Watkins went through that bit of a dip for a couple of months this season, and he came in and he was banging goals in. You'd think that's the type of player that's like, I want to push on to the next level. Like, I want to go to Arsenal and be their main man and potentially in the trophies, but instead he's taking the bag.
Yeah, listen, from a Villa perspective, it's good money. You know, it's a good, from a business perspective for them, it's great. I don't know. I'm a bit like you, thinking, wait till the summer and see what offers you get in the summer. Because I'll be honest, I'll imagine if they want him now, they'll go for him again in the summer. But I'd just be interesting to know if you wait till the summer. Quite a few, I'm sure a lot of European clubs will be sniffing around him. Maybe not. It doesn't always have to be a Premier League club. There's lots of clubs in Spain and France and Germany, you know, Champions League level clubs that would sniff around him and go, because lots of clubs need a striker in the summer. So he would definitely have had options in the summer, I think.
Yeah. And Scouts Repeat pointing out the other side. The other side to it, though, actually, Scouts Repeat points out here, I can't understand why Duran is going, but it makes total sense for Villa, because I think that might have been Kev in our little chat shared that table of percentage of turnover of teams, and like Villa is basically 100%. They spend all their money on player wages, so the 70 million sum is good for their books, but kind of doesn't reflect well on the old Arsenal trying to make a late swoop for Ollie Watkins, though.
No, feels like they haven't got a plan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess Olivier. Go.
I think Chelsea also had a similar problem, haven't they? That's probably why Chelsea are trying to get a few off the books with their wages.
Ooh, and a little more conspiracy. Does Duran going there mean that Mo has re-signed? I think it has. I think we can all agree on that. That is 100% in the bag, and I think we can just tie it up right there.
It depends. If you read that BBC quote, some saying that's the sign that all three are going. Depending if you're glass half full or glass half empty.
We were almost.
I think what it means is that, I mean, granted, this is not news to anyone, but what it means is that Nunes is staying for the time being, because the Ornstein quote that I was just referring to said that it was basically, it was Boniface or however you pronounce it. Yeah, him or Duran or Nunes. Those were the three that they were looking at, and the way that Ornstein kind of put it was that, you know, LFC shut it down completely, but we were all kind of talking a little bit about that 70 million pound or euro bid for Nunes, and how it was kind of, I don't know, sort of like a phantom bid that we didn't really know. But if you look at the money that they're willing to spend on Duran, it leads me to believe that they might have been willing to spend that on Nunes. And again, it's an unconfirmed thing. I don't know, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they had put in a bid for Nunes and Liverpool turned it down and said, nope, we're not selling. So I don't know. I just think it's interesting. I think it's interesting.
It's all a bunch of scuttle. I don't think Brian O'Sullivan is in here, or else I'd ask him for a minute update on how much longer is left in this transfer window. Thankfully, it's not very much longer. It's got to be under 36 hours.
Was it 3rd of Feb?
Is it the 3rd?
It's not the end of the month?
No, it's 3rd of Feb. Monday the 3rd of Feb. We've got another week. We've got another weekend of there. So that's just really ruined your day, that, hasn't it?
Just doesn't matter. We're not going to do anything, so it's not like there's anything to get excited about. There's not even any new like Euro dance beat compilations to watch on YouTube. You know.
Oh, there's loads of them. I'm sure you can find them.
But I want one that says like, you won't believe what you're about to sign, and it's got a poorly photoshopped picture of a player I've never heard of before with a Liverpool jersey on. Come on.
There was some guy from River Plate that was linked last night.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so if you want to find, you know, a discotheque kind of style YouTube thing, that's the one to look for.
Yes, it's the best use of old Eurovision song contestants is on YouTube compilations. Just everything, it's like that. But we keep chugging along in the Champions League. We get a nice break now, as everybody that finished from 9th to 24th has to scrap it out in the knockout rounds. We now get another fun draw, and none of this shit matters, because all that matters at the point in time being is that we play Bournemouth on Saturday, and that is the big one. Presumably, we're going to have some form of preview show coming up. It seems like we might have the Telegram Chronicles back in effect, judging by how the last 30s have been going. So all the people that are involved in the members chat, just know that your comments in the members Telegram group may become fodder for a 30 that is done by Gav.
We need to have like a disclaimer somewhere.
This will appear in a member show.
Yeah, it could. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of Gav. That is basically the law of the Telegram members group. But thanks again to Richard Howell, who gifted a bunch of memberships in for people. Again, get involved if you can, because it is just so much fun. The Telegram group is always hilarious. An open face sandwich is a real thing. You can absolutely not sue me. Gav, potentially. I don't know how Irish laws work like that. You'll have to take it up with whoever.
I think they just say, it's grand. Don't worry about it.
The channel attorney is definitely Phil Casey. I'm getting the strangest feeling.
We've got no chance of them.
We've got no chance. So yeah, you can go ahead and try to sue, but we've got the Irish Johnny Cochran and Phil Casey there to handle things for us.
He shows up with his giant helmet on to all of his meetings.
Good fun.
Judge Casey, that could be a new show. You bring your gripes to Judge Casey, and he decides
it'll come on right after Jerry Springer and Judge Judy.
Yeah, it'd have to be after 10. Like, it'd have to be after the watershed.
Definitely.
But
yeah. Gav is the court-appointed defense attorney. So you come in as the prosecution. Gav is the court-appointed defense attorney in front of Judge.
And Phil makes judgment on you. Phil would love this. He'd love this.
The Gav will decide. Absolutely brilliant. This is why she is the professor.
We have so many like costume options too. Like, we just need to get Emmett to bring in all of his costumes, and it'll be fantastic.
This is off-season stuff. We've got 2 months of off-season with no tournament to fill. But in the meantime, Liverpool suffered defeat, a crippling, embarrassing defeat in the Netherlands by the odd goal in 5 to PSV Eindhoven, but none of it really fucking matters at all. So that was a total non-event, but thank you everybody for joining us either which way. We actually got 200 people in here watching it. So hit the like for us on the way out. If you'd like to become a member, $3.99 a month, please do. It is such a brilliant little community that we've got here. And then also we've got our charity partners, which are fan supporting food banks and the Lighthouse Cafe in Dublin. And if you can help them out, you'll find the GoFundMe link in the description to the show as always. But until then, make sure you got your notifications on, because you never know when another show is going to be coming from Gav this month. He's really on it. So thanks very much to Chris. Thanks very much to Ashley. Liverpool, top of the Champions League group. I like the sound of that. See ya.